Welcome to the show designed to give you crypto confidence. Created by the marketing communications specialists at BlockSparks, we want to help you learn about cryptocurrency and blockchain in a safe and friendly place. Because we believe this stuff is far too exciting to leave it to the geeks. Come and join us to learn more. So hello, Crypto Confidence listeners, and welcome back. We have a very interesting conversation to look forward to today as we meet a project which is using the blockchain and cryptocurrency to do two things which are very important and very dear to the hearts of all of us here at Crypto Confidence. They're teaching young people about money, and they're teaching them to use their wealth to help others. Yes, I knew you'd like the sound of this one, because as the blockchain brings ever greater transparency to the world, it also exposes some of the inequalities and divisions which many of us are lucky enough to be able to ignore on a day-to-day basis. But blockchain transparency highlights how great the differences are in wealth and power around the world. And often it's only young children who have the integrity and the courage to call out these kind of unfairnesses that the rest of us have learned to accept as normal when we shouldn't. So it's fantastic to learn about GiveNation, who are empowering new generations to make the changes we need to see in the world. And special for today, not just one interviewee, but I'm delighted to have with us two people, Alyze, who is the community director, and Arnaud St. Paul, who is the director of GiveNation. Welcome, both of you, to the Crypto Confidence Show.
Hi, well, I'm excited to be here. I've been waiting to be on my show for a while now.
We've had a few goes at this, haven't we, Sam? It's wonderful to talk to you at last. And welcome, Arnaud.
Thank you. Hello as well. And I'm very excited as well.
It's great to have you both here. I'm looking forward to learning all about GiveNation, but I always like to start asking my guests about their personal journey into crypto and blockchain, because I'm yet to meet anybody yet who decided that they wanted to work in blockchain when they were a child. So we all have these squiggly career paths. Sam, what's your story? Tell us how you got to this place.
Well, I didn't dream of blockchain when I was a child because I'm a little older than that. But blockchain actually brought me in, and I'm very excited about that. I'm actually a hospice nurse, and I have an undergrad in chemistry and theology. I worked as a hospice and home health nurse for 11 years, but I was stopped at a red light, and I was hit by a commercial semi-truck and sustained a spinal injury. I flared up with a rare autoimmune disease, and at that point, I was trading cryptocurrency. So I decided to take out all of my retirement that I had saved, and I went all in. But being myself, that just wasn't enough for me. I needed to understand the underlying technology. So I reached out to people, leaders in the industry, and I actually became very versed in blockchain technology. And I've traveled as an educator, a speaker, an advocate, and an influencer. I sit at the top 1% of the blockchain industry, and I couldn't be more humbled or honored or accepted by the community. They literally have saved my life.
Oh, well, you know, you give so much to it, Sam, that it's brilliant to have you contributing to our podcast now, and it's an honor to meet you at last. And Arnaud, please tell us about your career path, because obviously Sam's is the really typical one. How did you get into this crazy space?
How did I get into that crazy space? So yes, I wasn't born with it either. Let's say that my personal life was geared a lot around spirituality from a very young age. And my professional life started in finance and got into tech very quickly, creating startups in Europe and in the US. I was in Silicon Valley when I started 10 years ago to decide to put everything together, meaning my tech and finance knowledge and my spiritual knowledge, in order to focus my life towards helping humanity to live through their hearts, to live in a more positive way. And so I looked for technologies to make that happen. And one of the technologies is called Heartfulness, which I created, which helps people and individuals and entities and organizations to be more heart-oriented and unlock potentials that they couldn't dream before of. But also at the same time, I came up with my path crossed blockchain about 2 years ago, and a bulb came out as well at the same time, where I saw the opportunity to use the most essential component of our society, which is money, to change patterns of people, to help them associate money with good, with impact, with empathy, compassion, altruism, instead of greed, instead of me, and therefore possibly allowing a new era for humanity, and hence the idea of offering that to the next generation, so that we can together change the whole spectrum of values in humanity, but also the impact we can have on each other.
That's fantastic. It really reflects for me the way blockchain flips the script on so many things we take for granted. And I love that idea of money being about giving rather than accumulating, and giving away rather than selfishness. So tell me about GiveNation then. What's the big idea, and what's the story behind GiveNation so far?
The big idea is, thanks to blockchain, there is an opportunity to create a nation of all the kids in the world, where these kids have the opportunity to not only be as adults, they have their own currency, they trade it, they learn how to save it, to invest it, to play with it, and also to give it to charities. And at the same time, they have their own governance. They are the ones that are engaging and telling the world what is important to them. And why not having a nation with 1.6 billion citizens around the world that share the same values, that are all looking towards making the planet a better place, that are about social enterprises, about helping others. Obviously, not everyone will want to help others, even in that beautiful nation that we're building, but at least maybe a bigger portion of it.
Yes, I love the idea of all the children being in one nation, of a community of interest and connection that doesn't depend on physical borders.
Exactly, that it will more depend on how much they love to be part of a community than the physical apparent limitations that their age or status in the world impact.
Yeah, because we impose these things. They're just political or social structures that we have these boundaries on our lands, but children don't understand that. They don't need to know about that, do they? Sam, I know you've got a very young child. I'm sure that's why children matter so much to you for the future. What's your vision for your little one?
I want my little one to be protected, but to be free at the same time. He needs to be able to express himself and learn and grow, but be protected by a community. And the GiveNation gives that to him. I plan on homeschooling my children because I feel like the United States educational system is atrocious. And I've worked with some of the greatest public schools here in Kansas, and I just don't feel like they're good enough for any of our children. And GiveNation is allowing a great education, not only with finance, but with other aspects in life that our children need to learn, even with physical activity. And they're just going to grow, and they're going to be so much happier, and they're going to enjoy doing this. And we're going to give them that instant gratification that they want, but also reap from the long-term benefits of an education.
Right, because as parents, we're looking for the long term. Children need a reward straight away, but we've got a longer view for them, hopefully.
As well. And to your question earlier, I forgot to answer part of it. So the way GiveNation is actually, embodying itself is through an app, which is a wallet and a marketplace. And on that wallet, which is very intuitive, it's an apple tree that grows according to the behavior the kid has related with money management and sustainable financial literacy in this case. So How does he behave in terms of saving, of investing in solar panels, wind turbines, trees? How does he spend his money in games or toys and so on? How does he give to charities, whether his time or his money? So according to all this, the wallet will change shape, and the apple tree will grow, and they can collect badges related with the Sustainable Development Goals from the UN as well, and access the marketplace where they can buy products, because being a kid is about playing, more importantly. And the last bit is they have access to our marketplace of education, where they can watch videos or series of videos, answer quizzes and questions that help them learn about new topics as well.
That's fantastic. That connection between play and learning is so important in the very young, isn't it? I think we're understanding more and more about the psychology of gamification and games and how to reward and nudge good behavior in that way. I think it's wonderful that you're doing that with such young people.
Yes, and it's very important. More so, we see that the huge problem related with financial education across the world, where the numbers are really, how would I put it, outstanding, in the sense that a very little percentage of kids actually receive a financial literacy education, while the world, from a society standpoint, or the adult world, becomes more and more complex from a financial standpoint. So there is a big gap that is happening. It was not the case the last generation, but it's starting to grow now. And it has a huge impact. And we know the impact it has, not just in the crypto world, but the crisis in 2008 and all that. That's all these aspects that needs to change.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Sam said about schooling in the US. It's exactly the same in Europe as well. Not preparing kids for what they need out there in order to survive. I mean, why aren't we teaching the mathematics of finance and the economy, or how to balance your own budget? And I think there was some research recently that said that, and I think this was in the US, that 50% of adults don't even understand compound interest. Never mind anything more complicated. So we've got no chance. Whereas my girls are coming home with complicated homework to help them measure triangles. But I would just like them to know how to balance a budget.
Exactly. That's our problem. And people have asked us why this matters so much for the future. And it was really interesting. The other day, Arnaud and I were on LinkedIn, and Philip Nunn had posted a quote by Confucius, and it said, if you want to plan for a year, plant rice. If you want to plan for 10 years, plant trees. And if you want to plan for 100 years, make sure you educate your children. And I know that a lot of us as parents are just really tired of planting rice. And as a mother, I believe with all my heart that if we do for our children now, and we teach them outside of the triangle and how to budget the checkbook, that they're not going to have some of the issues that we as adults have struggled with, unless we're independent millionaires born that way. A lot of people have struggled financially, and we don't want that for the future generation. And the educational system that lies within most of the world does not teach that. And that's just not fair for the younger generation. We have to do better. And GiveNation is going to give that to our children. And it's a gift for adults too, because I don't know how, I'm in my mid-30s, and I don't know how many people my age are like, well, what's financial technology? I have a debit card. I have an application. It's fine. My bills come out automatically.
Yeah, and as long as you have an income going in, you don't have to think too much about it, and until you're challenged or there's some crisis with that, either in your own work life or your health or something like that. You just don't ask questions, and you just roll along with it until you have to figure it out, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of our friends and us personally have been affected by situations like that. And we are financially educated. So not allowing our children that education, we are really disabling them.
Yeah, and I think our children are facing so many problems that our generation have bequeathed them in terms of what we've done to this planet and the economy and the environment and everything else, that they're going to have some really big problems to solve. And I just really love what you're doing about bringing children together from around the world to tackle these things collectively and altruistically. I think that's really exciting.
I think it's exciting because we get to make it fun. I tease Arnaud and I say that when I was growing up, I played with a Tamagotchi and I had to keep that thing alive. And now I have to wear a Fitbit to keep me alive. And now I have to work with GiveNation to keep our children and our planet alive.
It's all interconnected, isn't it? And the wonderful thing is that it's all abundant, and you wearing that Fitbit takes nothing away from the children that you're helping around the world. In fact, it helps you be well and strong in order to do that. That's what's so exciting about it. I love the way that children have this way of looking at the world where they will ask the awkward questions and call out the emperor's new clothes and see what's wrong in a way that we as adults have often learned to put up with things that aren't fair or aren't right or are causing long-term problems. And I'm interested in what age of children that you'll be working with this project, because is there an age where children get inured to this stuff and become cynical and fixed like adults?
Yeah, so we're starting very young. We're starting at 5 years old.
Right.
Because the first period of 5 to 7 is where the neuroplasticity is very high. So we have the opportunity to create positive patterns at that age that will last for the rest of their lives. And I'm not talking about indoctrination. We're talking just about very simple things like, learning how to save money and understanding very basic concepts of citizenship and stuff like that. We're working with world-renowned partners that have been teaching to millions of children these concepts. And they are the ones through our platform that actually convey these messages.
Fantastic. Because mostly children at that age don't have a lot of control over any aspect of their life, I guess. They can't decide what they're going to eat or what they're going to do and things like that during the day. The idea of giving them that much autonomy just feels really empowering and exciting.
It does. Actually, I was discussing with the director of SOS Children in Kosovo, actually, and she was telling us that the things that they have observed is that children even if they wanted to give to someone, they couldn't. They never had the actual direct experience of it. Their school were saying, bring clothes or money for that charity or that charity, and they ask their parents, and then the parents do the transaction for them.
Yes.
So there is no way for them to have a direct experience, which therefore hampers potential repetitive experiences related with giving.
Yes, exactly what you said. It's about wiring their brains to feel that that's a normal part of life, and that's part of the cycle of how resources flow around the world. That you receive and you give and you earn and you share, and it all flows back to you.
Exactly.
No, I love that.
Harvard Business Review actually released something last year. I wrote an article on, and they were saying that giving in this aspect actually helps solve a lot of social issues, and as well as it helps prevent and cure depression, because for every one child that gives, there's a ripple effect where they affect 10 other kids. And that's just astounding to me because, you think about it, if you go to the store and you hold the door open for somebody and they say, thank you so much, and they compliment you, it just makes you feel good. And then if we can start, and that's just one person as an adult, because we are just really overwhelmed and stressed out. But if we give that love and that giving nature and to our children, and it has that a ripple effect, it's going to affect the entire planet. And we're going to see a huge decline in depression, I believe, which is something that everybody struggles with this technological incline.
Definitely. Well, heaven knows the planet needs that right now. I think maybe particularly in Europe and the US, I think there's just sort of huge background levels of stress and anxiety about big picture things that we feel we can't control, whereas we can control whether we hold the door for somebody, what we do with our loose change, how we spend the things that we have access to make a difference to others. So it's really about starting right at home, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I agree. And you as a mother, you too, like we do anything that we can to enable our kids to be servants in the community and to love as much as possible so that they can be happy and successful.
Yeah, we worry about the world we're bringing them into and the preparation they're getting from our public schooling. But I know that one of the aspects that you're very interested in with this app is to give children some understanding of business and trade and commerciality alongside the altruism. You have to accumulate in order to be able to give. So do children understand business when we're talking about sort of 5-year-olds and 7-year-olds? What can they understand about entrepreneurialism?
You would be very surprised. Yes, they do. Obviously, not all of them. There are children that are more versed into arts and letters than others that are a lot about accumulating wealth or things like that. Mm-hmm. But we definitely give an opportunity for children that have already something that brings them closer to that kind of concepts to be able to not only learn about it, but also very shortly experience it. So we're working right now with a renowned partner that in order to create incubators for children starting 12 years old, for them to create their own social enterprises, understand on the gig economy, at least to start with, which is a safe and secure environment thanks to the blockchain, they can start testing things. We also have an initiative with coding schools where kids that code apps can code app and use a Givecoin as a tool for them to start earning coins and provide it to other kids. And so this way we believe we can foster again, that idea of self-empowerment and always looking into how do I contribute to the community, right? That's an important aspect of our economy, where it is clear, there's a clear feedback loop on whatever action I'm taking, it has an impact on the overall community. What type of impact? Is it a positive one or not? Thanks to the Sustainable Development Goals. And our system of badges. And so this way they can acquire the right habits related with creating businesses that contribute instead of taking only.
Brilliant. Again, it's empowering, isn't it? Because kids don't really have access to that the way our society is structured at the moment. We think we're if our children were in a developing country, they might have to be entrepreneurial in order to survive and earn money and bring it home at that age. But because we're in a developed Western economy, we're lucky enough our children don't have to learn about the real value of money and work and exchanging their effort for reward. But actually, they don't get that education then unless they have access to something like GiveNation.
Yes.
Absolutely. A lot of my friends and family have asked me about this, and they say, well, why does a kid need to start a business like a lemonade stand? And I try, I tell them, it's very important because you don't know what their dreams are going to be. Not everybody's going to be an entrepreneur. I'll be real honest with you. I'm not a great entrepreneur. I'm a better servant. My kids are servants too, but that doesn't mean that they can't start a business within the service industry. And they need to know not to be taken advantage of. And I love GiveNation because we protect our children from, we educate them so that they can protect themselves and we can protect them in the process as well.
Yeah, I think it's a huge debate within parenting generally nowadays, whether we protect our children too much. And actually, people have to learn by experience. And if you wrap your child in cotton wool, in whether that's emotionally or practically or financially, then they don't develop those coping skills that they're going to need in the real world, because the real world won't cut them any slack. So I love the idea of being able to explore business in a safe place.
Yes, exactly. And make their own mistakes, which, will amount to £10 or $10 or, which can be a lot of money in certain countries, but in the Western world, it's not a lot.
Yeah.
So, but yes, it's about enabling them, empowering them to be as adults at the age at which they are, right? So they have a different interpretation, each age range. And test it out, see how does that make sense to them, and think about, what kind of future they want to have, and also engage around with their community around topics that is important to them, and gradually become part of a place that seems to be home.
Fantastic.
Right?
And they're learning it all the time as they go along with that, without feeling like they're in school.
Exactly, and engaging with their parents in the process, because through the kids, the parents can also learn, or at least participate a little bit more to the community, and therefore it's for the benefit of the school, of the children, etc., etc.
I'm sure lots of kids are going to teach their parents about blockchain and cryptocurrency because they learn this stuff. So.
We have been saying that for years, have we not?
Yeah, and it's all part of this process that, the reason we're doing the podcast, and the reason that I write, and the reason that you write as well, Sam, is to try and bring this world to people who don't understand yet what it's going to do for them. And I think empowering a younger generation to help educate from that end as well is absolutely fantastic. So you have a native token within the app, and that's what people can buy and sell. Can they generate it? Can they mine it?
It's a stable token. It's a stable coin. So the way it is structured is we have the gift coin, which is can only be used by children,
right,
up to 18 years old. So the adults are out of that picture. And then there's the gift token, which is only for adults this time. So the parents are the first buyers of it. Mainly each time a child gets onto the app as a member, as a full citizen of the country, the parents have a token as well.
Right.
So that the parents, the long-term view of GiveNation is to be owned by the community. Okay. And so it is community driven and community managed and community curated. For instance, the parents decide which providers are offered to their children, thanks to the blockchain. We're using a token curated registry mechanism to make that happen.
Okay.
And so each school will have their own identity related with the number or the type of providers that could be made available to their children. Obviously, a Montessori school won't use the same type of providers than a public school, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a bit an illustration of community leading that we're looking to implement.
That's brilliant, because it sounds like there's going to be a lot of oversight and involvement for the parents, which is fantastic. I mean, I think it's fair to say that a lot of aid agencies and charitable organizations have had some pretty bad press of late. There have been lots of reports in the news about how maybe donations aren't being used as wisely as they should have. There's a lot of cynicism, and people are concerned to know where their donations are going to end up. I've been wondering how the blockchain is going to make a difference, both with projects like yours and with international aid agencies. What kind of impact do you think it's going to have?
Well, it is clear that the world overall beyond blockchain is going towards more and more transparency, as well as a little bit out of obligation. It's going towards more and more taking care of the planet, right? Because if not...
At last,
yes, we're getting there. Mm-hmm. We're slow, but we're getting there. So thanks to blockchain, we can accelerate both of these processes, which is great. And related with GiveNation, we're using, obviously, the blockchain in order to be able to track every single use of resources towards not only within the scope of the GiveNation, but also all the people that we're going to help through charities. And the way we make it work is we have, thanks to our partner, first due diligence on the charities that are being onboarded. And we have already about 9,000 of them. Right. And then the parents decide whichever the ones they do not want by a majority vote in their schools. So that's up to them. And then after that, they are being offered to the children. The idea being that when a child gives some gift coins or some time to the charity, it would be trackable throughout the blockchain. Now, obviously, not all the charities would be blockchain enabled from the get-go, from the start, but obviously also that's something we're going to push towards.
Sure.
So that, namely, the blockchain empowered one will be, from a search engine optimization kind of mechanism. They will be listed in the first bits, related with the other ones that are a bit more opaque. Let's put it that way.
Again, it's kind of gamification and nudging, isn't it? You're not telling them they have to get on the blockchain, but once people start to see the advantages that it's going to bring to their cause, then you can see more and more people are going to get on board with this. I love that direct connection between donors and recipients that the blockchain enables, that you could actually see how you want to help and see exactly where your donation is going to make a difference.
Yeah,
that's really good, that transparency. And I think it's going to be something that hopefully for the generation that's being educated now, they won't know that these news reports about agencies misspending funds and things like that, because they will know, they'll have that direct connection. When they make a donation, they'll be able to see exactly how it's going to directly help.
Exactly. And then something that also makes us really unique and special for the children too is, we don't want to just pick the charities, our charities, what's important to us. We're actually interviewing these children and asking them what they are passionate about. Maya, you and I struggle with things that are unique. I have lupus. And so there's a lot of children that might have a rare disease, and we don't have a charity up for that. So we're interviewing these children. We're seeing what they want to give to, what they're passionate about, and we're researching these companies and getting with like-minded corporations so that these children don't feel like they have to earn something and give it away to something that they don't want. That's not going to benefit them. That's not going to make them happy. That's not going to make them fulfilled. We want to empower them to give where their passion is. And that's really, really something that's special about GiveNation. Fantastic.
And then they'll be able to use that blockchain to directly view the outcome of their donation. It's a completely closed loop that generates so much power and feedback.
And then they get to tell their friends and their family, look what I've achieved. You can help too. And again, that ripple effect comes into effect.
Brilliant. So really exciting, something that all of us who are parents or grandparents or have children in our lives who we care about are going to want to find out more about. How can we learn more about Give? How can our children be part of that initial cohort if we want to find out more about it? What should we do right now?
I can definitely take charge of that one, since Arnaud put me in charge of the community. We have a call to action, actually. We're looking for 1,000 kids to sign up right now so that we can interview more kids and develop and collaborate with what they want to see and what they are excited about. We are all over social media, thanks to this last week. We are on Twitter, and our handle on everything is the GiveNation, TheGive Nation, Nation. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Medium, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and you can email us or visit our website, which is givenation.world.
Okay, truly global. That's fantastic. Well, we'll put all of those links into our show notes and when we tweet about this show so that people can easily get in touch with you. But it looks like it's the GiveNation everywhere. So no excuses, even if you're just listening to this in your car or whilst you're out for a walk, you're going to remember that one when you get home and check out the GiveNation. Sam, Arnaud, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would like people to know about what you're doing, what you would like them to do? What needs to happen next?
We could have a few hours more, but
we have such a big dream to really change the world, and we need your help, and we need your passion. We need some ambassadors. We need your children's opinions and ideas, and we need to grow together. So please give us some feedback. Tell us what you want to see. We want to make the world a better place, and we can't do it without you guys, especially parents. So tell us what we can do for you. Right now, we're in the middle of crowdfunding, like a lot of startups are. And we're developing some merchandise. We're putting a donate button on our website, and we will have an interactive game on there soon so that you guys can check us out. When school starts out in September, we'll be visiting the schools, having concerts, and being very active in the community. So if you see us around and about, we would love to meet you, know more about you. Please come join our Telegram group and have a conversation with me or Arnaud. We want to incorporate everybody. We do not want to exclude anybody.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, I hope that some CryptoConfidence listeners, particularly those who are parents or grandparents, will take away these ideas and check out your links online and get involved with the GiveNation. Thank you ever so much, Sam, Arnaud, for telling us about your project. It's been so interesting for me.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you so much for having us. It's a great pleasure as well.
Yes, you are wonderful. I've just enjoyed talking to you over the years, and I'm so glad that we finally got to speak quote unquote in person. And so
different continents, but at least we've managed a call at last. So.
Yes, you will always be my Delilah. Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a great pleasure, guys. So following a hiatus of a couple of months, we return to our popular cryptocurrency alphabet definition section. Sorry for the delay. We've just had so many amazing guests on lately, and sometimes those interviews have gone on longer than I expected, so we simply haven't been able to squeeze in any of these little sections. We're glad to go back to it today, however, and whether or not you remember, we had got it up to letter N last time when we looked at network effects. So today we're up to O. And in the crypto dictionary, O is for over-the-counter or OTC trading. Now, over-the-counter in this context has nothing to do with whether you can get a medication off the shelf in a supermarket or direct from a pharmacist, as opposed to whether a doctor has to write you a prescription for it, which is how that term is commonly used in the UK and other places. When it comes to financial trading, over-the-counter or OTC deals are those which take place directly between two individual parties, rather than via an exchange. They can involve a wide range of assets, from commodities to stocks and derivatives, and of course cryptocurrencies. While the deal itself takes place between a buyer and a seller, there might be various intermediaries involved, like brokers or specialist OTC desk services, who manage these kind of trades all the time, meaning that the two parties involved may never meet or identify one another. OTC deals take place because when people have large amounts of crypto to buy and sell, there might be lots of reasons why they want to keep such deals off the public exchanges. Depending on the specific asset involved, what constitutes a large sale might vary a lot. Remember, some coins have very low volumes and they might have low liquidity. Have a listen back to episode 24 if you need to remind yourself what liquidity means in terms of crypto assets. Price can be highly sensitive to rumor and sentiment in this market. And if someone wanted to buy or sell a significant proportion of a coin on the open market, just the placing of that order could move the price in a meaningful way. Imagine that Blockspark's coin was a thing. It isn't, but let's pretend. And imagine that you were personally so convinced it'd be a huge success in the future that you wanted to buy up large amounts of it while the price was still low and people hadn't discovered it. So you started placing orders at exchanges for sums which were actually together noticeable proportions of the entire market capitalization of Blockspark's coin. Even if you don't want to draw attention to it, so you spread your buys out across different exchanges, the market does synchronize algorithmically, and so the orders get noticed. Blockspark's coin is in demand all of a sudden. Trading bots respond to the signals, buy the rumor, and before long your dastardly master plan is fully executed, and Blockspark's coin is skyrocketing in value. People are tweeting about it, YouTubers are exhorting their followers to buy, not least so they can dump their own stash of it for as much as possible while the value is still artificially inflated. The whole market is so volatile. Other altcoins that might have been associated with Blockspark's coin during some communication months ago could also start swinging, then crashing. It's a disaster. You get the picture. You just don't want that to happen, and you won't be able to execute the plan that you intended. Even with Bitcoin, the market cap is still so small compared with other currencies and commodities that significant new players in the marketplace can impact the price and start all sorts of rumors. Institutional investors, family offices, billionaire business executives, they can be private kind of people, or they might have strategic reasons not to advertise a new exposure to the risks and returns of the crypto asset marketplace. And on the other side of the deal might be miners, whose hard work and resources have gone into generating those coins in the first place. So the last thing they want to do is tank the value by selling too many of them too publicly or too quickly. So it's not surprising that many major exchanges have now started to offer OTC trading desks alongside their traditional order books, including Binance and Coinbase. Because of its very nature, no one knows exactly what kind of volumes of cryptocurrency are moving through OTC trading in this way. It's actually a funny term for it because I would have thought under the counter would be more appropriate. But it is estimated that these private deals are usually bigger in daily volumes than the exchange traded volumes. So think about that for a minute. It's like there's this whole other trading network going on that's invisible to most of us who are watching the markets. Some of them, of course, want that privacy for dodgy reasons of their own, like tax evasion or funding something horrible, but others simply want and can afford to conduct their business away from the regulation and oversight to which most of the larger exchanges are increasingly subject. Exchanges also have daily limits that most of us don't get anywhere near, but might make a difference if you are truly a whale in the cryptocurrency world. I'll have to wait till we get to W for that. Anyway, for now, in the crypto alphabet, O stands for over-the-counter. Over or under, but mum's the word. Do you want to buy some crypto? Over here. Shh. Thanks for listening to CryptoConfidence. If you like what you hear, please do consider leaving us a review via your favourite podcasting app and joining the conversation online in whichever way you prefer. Full contact details are in the show notes for this episode. And remember, nothing in this podcast or our related social media, nor anything else published by BlockSparks OU at any location, is intended as financial, investment, or trading advice. Everything we write or say represents our personal opinions for your information, education, and entertainment only. You should not make any decisions based on anything we share with you, not without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with appropriate professional advisors. CryptoConfidence is all about being smart and informed and making the right choices for you.